With her regular show, the Ingram Angle, Laura Ingram distinguishes out as a top Fox News personality. In the United States, she has made a name for herself as a notable conservative author, political analyst, and TV host. She has an intriguing personal life in addition to her distinctive work, and she never stops. Tied the knot and alone bearing children via adoption. Even though Laura Ingram has no husband, we can meet her children anyhow. Our Guatemalan friend Maria. Let's begin with Maria Caroline Ingram, the firstborn of Laura Ingram and an exemplary woman in her own right. A tale of love, perseverance, and purpose has unfolded between them, which started in a humble Guatemalan orphanage. Maria was born on May 11, 2005, in Guatemala, but she experienced a lot of grief in her early years because she was an orphan. Laura Ingram's life took a dramatic turn when she was barely 3 years old, who had already become famous in conservative circles, came to fetch her home. According to Ingram, the journey to Guatemala was a watershed moment in her life. The first time she laid eyes on Maria, a frail 3-year-old, standing at the entrance of the orphanage, clinging to a little plastic bag that held all her possessions. Concerning the adoption, she characterized it as the finest decision she had ever made in the most incredible few days of her life. She saw this as more than simply an adoption. It was the beginning of a path that would change their lives. After Maria and her mother arrived in the United States, they embarked on a journey of discovery and bonding together. To demonstrate how much they accepted each other's worlds, Laura has spoken kindly about how she began learning Spanish at the same time Maria was learning English. Their connection deepened as a result of how they met. Maria is now a lovely, mature young woman who is both intelligent and caring. Her 20-year-old pursuit of a nursing degree demonstrates her compassion and commitment to making a difference in people's lives. From her daughter's high school graduation party to her final college yell, Laura has been there every step of the way, sharing photos and videos of her daughter's accomplishments. An emotional scene unfolded on the Ingram Angle when Maria showed up to the show and Laura shared the news that her daughter was going to Texas A&M University. It was a significant milestone on her daughter's path to becoming an independent young woman. Maria has shown a dedication to giving back in areas outside of academia as well. With the same selfless spirit that characterized her, she has devoted her time to teaching and inspiring young people through cheerleading and gymnastics programs. Personal narrative. Although Laura Ingram is well known for her fiery views and dominating broadcast presence, her motherhood roles show a more vulnerable and intimate side of her. She frequently calls her children her greatest blessing. Moreover, her bond with Maria is evidence of her, the idea that the concept of family goes beyond genetics. A life of thankfulness and progress has been formed by Laura and Maria through faith, love, and tenacity. Laura went on to adopt her second kid from Russia a few years down the road. Russian Michael Dmitry holds a unique position in Laura Ingram's affections, being the first of her 2 sons and the second adoptive child. Michael, who was born in Russia on June 1, 2008, has a narrative of love that knows no boundaries and defies political turmoil. At the time Laura started the adoption procedure, he was just 13 months old. He had no idea the enormous adventure that lay ahead of him as a little boy. After adopting a daughter named Maria from Guatemala, Ingram was eager to start a family of her own. Returning Michael to his family wasn't as simple as it seems. More and more diplomatic tensions emerged in the late 2000s. International adoptions became considerably more complex due to the ongoing conflict between Russia and the U.S. There was a lot of political red tape, long wait times, and bureaucratic hurdles that Ingram had to overcome. She remained steadfast in her determination and strategy nevertheless. When speaking with her, she recalled how upsetting it was to witness youngsters entangled in conflicts on a global scale. Adoption, she emphasized, must always center on the children and their best interests. Nations should never use children as leverage in negotiations. They're not just another number. Ingram said that the approval of the adoption was a watershed event for her. While visiting Russia to meet her son for the first time, she recognized in him the same inspiration and determination that had eventually led her to become a mother. She sensed their bond the moment she held him in her arms. Michael, who is now 17 years old, has developed into an intelligent and inquisitive young man. Michael was characterized by those close to the Ingram family as enthusiastic, generous, and goal-oriented. His mother's resolve is reflected in all of these qualities, as well as his distinct individuality. In addition to his extroverted personality, his newfound love of sports, particularly soccer and basketball, is evident in his frequent involvement in extracurricular activities at school and in the neighborhood. Without fail, Laura gushes over her son and talks about him with nothing but praise and happiness. His private life, in order to avoid being the center of attention from the media. She has described Michael as the lifeblood of our home and added that he has given joy and harmony to their household through his presence. After that, she returned to Russia with Nikolai, her third child. Russian national Nikolai, the third Ingram child, Nikolai Peter, makes the journey from the icy streets of Moscow to Laura's house in America. She grows into a role in a loving multicultural family and experiences modest bravery along the way. Entering the world in 2010 in Russia, Nikolai was taken in by Laura Ingram in 2011 at the age of about 1 year. A fresh chapter would be opened in her life as a result of this choice. It had been 3 years since Nikolai's adoptions of his sister from Guatemala and brother from Russia, when Laura brought him home for the first time. Nikolai brought an even richer global tapestry to the family. He was the youngest of his siblings, and as a Russian immigrant, he was still adjusting to his new home in the United States and all its sights, sounds, and rhythms. In the year 2025, at the age of 15, Nikolai represents a turning point. Still in his exploratory years, he is mature enough to contemplate. The only thing his mother has said about him is that he loves swimming, and she keeps him hidden from everyone. She has laid the groundwork for Nikolai to mature in silence and pursue his own interests by shielding him from the spotlight. While Laura Ingram does have 3, she is a single mother with no children because she never got married. In contrast to other conservatives, she seemed uninterested in tying the knot, despite having been in multiple relationships and even engaged once, interactions and partnerships. Throughout her life, Laura Ingram has maintained a front page, yet her personal life is kept secret at all times. Despite this, she has been in public relationships with a few men, but never married any of them. Her engagement in 2005 was one of her more notable romances at the time. When Ingram was a freshman in college, he went to Dartmouth. While attending Dartmouth College, she met conservative commentator Desh Duza and began reviewing his work. Rumors circulated that they were about to tie the knot due to their common political and journalistic interests, but neither of them came clean about it. Unfortunately, though, friendship lasted long after love had faded. Duza was in the middle of legal issues in 2014, and Ingram sent a letter defending him, praising him as one of the finest human beings I have ever met. After much anticipation, Ingram finally confirmed her engagement to billionaire James V in April 2004. Hey there, Jose. Apparently, they had met on a blind date, and her engagement marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Still, Ingram had a breast cancer diagnosis, surgery, and therapy right when wedding plans were taking shape. Both her health and engagement were affected by the diagnosis. No longer would the wedding be held. She announced publicly afterwards, and they were no longer mentioned in the media. On multiple occasions, Ingram has discussed how her cancer diagnosis and treatment altered her outlook on life, objectives, and future aspirations. Within this, thus, the engagement in 2005 is a watershed event, quite a turning point in her life, both romantically and otherwise, that affected the trajectory of her relationships with loved ones. From time to time, Ingram has also been associated with other notable people, such as Keith Richter, a commentator, and Robert Torricelli, a former U.S. Senator. Sarah Oberman. Although details about either of those relationships were never confirmed, it is evident that Ingram had changed her life's trajectory considerably by the time she became a mother by adopting 3 children, Maria from Guatemala in 2008 and Michael and Nikolai from Russia in the years that followed. While acknowledging that her own life did not conform to conventional married and having children paradigm, Ingram stated that she believes in the significance of family and the merit of established structures. On the contrary, she emphasized that there are several sorts of family, as she keeps on raising her. With the help of her 3 children, she reflects on her battle with breast cancer and her subsequent recovery. My battle with breast cancer. A dramatic and life-altering event occurred in April 2005 for Laura Ingram long before she adopted her children. During her annual checkup, the doctor found a lump in her breast. What began as a brief feeling of worry transformed into a monumental obstacle in the formative years of a child. Cancer, the invasive ductal kind, was determined to be her aggressive diagnosis. The first of her 2 procedures was performed less than a week after she received the diagnosis. A crucial feature working in her favor was the early testing conducted following the first procedure, which revealed that the disease had not progressed to her lymph nodes. Chemotherapy was a subsequent chapter after surgery. By the end of October 2005, she had finished her 6 weeks of therapy and radiation. Faith, family, and the unfaltering support of friends and listeners were the pillars upon which Ingram built her story. She refused to accept the victim card despite the overwhelming outpouring of support from people all around the nation and the transformative power of prayer, as she had previously mentioned. To emphasize that she wasn't the only one affected, Ingram says she would rather be called Thor than Survivor. Her life goals shifted as a result. That outlook is what helped her persevere through her cancer treatment. Although she has discussed how her battle with illness helped her gain perspective, hone her sense of purpose, and evaluate her values. It was an awful time, but a glorious time at the same time. She had previously stated that life after cancer can really be better than life before. She had a revelation after her therapy and chose to become a mother through adoption. In the meanwhile, she has been a vocal advocate for breast cancer screenings. Because of the incident, she became more self-reliant, started a family, and eventually built her own house. She has kept quiet regarding a lot of the medical information, instead highlighting the insights she gained from the experience. Instead of being recognized for her breast cancer, she wished to be remembered as a mom or friend who happened to have it, as she put it. She chose to become a mother after receiving treatment, and went on to become a vocal proponent of adoption. Promote adoption that is not tied to any political party. A leading conservative media figure, Laura Ingram has left her imprint. Still, her advocacy for adoption is a major force for positive change. Being a single parent to 3, she utilizes her platform to advocate for the belief that adoption should be motivated by love and homemaking, not politics, and she has adopted children from throughout the world. She learned firsthand the challenges of international adoption and its effects on the kid throughout her time attempting to bring a child from Russia into her home. Initially, she had mentioned adoption and, first and foremost, the children must be considered. It is unacceptable for countries to use children as a negotiating chip. Those things are not for sale. With such comments, she expresses her deep concern about the inherent injustice that arises when international adoption is caught up in bureaucratic red tape or geopolitical maneuvering, distances to cover. She knows firsthand the difficulties of adopting children from other countries, having done so with children from Russia and Guatemala. The Adopt a New Attitude project was one of Ingram's campaign-related endeavors. It aimed to bring attention to the human cost of the Russian government's restriction on the adoption of children from the United States. The children who were left behind, who were not at fault, should not be used as scapegoats in diplomatic reprisal, she added. She has expressed her sadness at the fact that tight regulations can be triggered by a single incident of abuse by an adoptive parent, leaving countless children without the household. Indeed, it is intriguing to observe how Ingram manages to balance her public character with her inner dedication. She generally expresses her political views on air without hesitating. However, she makes a point of drawing a sharp contrast between her typical remarks and this reason. She argues that orphanages and healing homes should not be used as tools for foreign policy and that adoption should transcend party lines. She has previously stated that it is heartless and selfish to prohibit the adoption of a child into a caring family, regardless of their age. She discussed the difficulties single women have while trying to adopt abroad due to the fact that governments and agencies tend to favor 2-parent households. With the kids, she took in through adoption. According to Ingram, her aspirations include constructing a house that is founded on love, faith, and permanency. She also takes this stance into consideration when caring for her children, and she frequently discusses her approach to parenting. Views on parenting. Even if Laura Ingram doesn't have a husband, you'll still find her parenting philosophy intriguing after meeting her children. With it all, her traditional beliefs, her faith, and the challenges of caring for 3 children who were adopted from other countries. Responsibility and independence are the cornerstones of her parenting philosophy. Her statements in public make it crystal apparent that she thinks kids do better when they have defined goals to work towards and, as they are inspired to stand independently while staying firmly grounded in their moral principles. Instead of being instructed what to believe and how to behave, she constantly stresses the importance of teaching children to think critically and morally. According to Ingram, even though her job involves, because in a world when everything moves at a rapid rate, her duty as a parent calls for more stability and genuine bonding. Discipline and accountability are 2 of the distinct structures she mentions. The significance of hard effort, honesty, and faith are instilled in her children. She bases her approach to parenting in part on her Catholic values. She has spoken about how her family's faith provides a groundwork for the principles she instills in her children and gives them direction in life. But she manages to strike a balance between structure and independence. Instead of becoming mindless followers, Ingram wants her children to develop into strong, independent thinkers who challenge authority and become respected members of society. She has made the comment that being a single parent and raising children was the most difficult thing she has ever had to do. Recognizing not only the additional difficulty and accountability inherent in that dynamic, but also her belief in it. Refusing to take on responsibilities is not the way to achieve independence. She incorporates moments of thankfulness and introspection into her parenting technique as well. Not only that, much about her personal life, but she did mention that she wakes her kids up every night with an encouragement to share something good that happened to them. In fact, she encourages her children to embrace and celebrate their many cultural backgrounds, rather than avoiding or downplaying them. In addition to her, Laura is an excellent parent, and she frequently discusses her Christian views, faith, and motherhood, as well as her deep love for both. The choices Laura Ingram made about adoption and her parenting style are informed by her strong Roman Catholic religion, which is an integral part of her motherhood journey. In her early adult years, she sought out her spiritual path and ultimately became a Catholic. While raising her 3 children on her own, Ingram frequently says that her faith was the rock upon which her life rested. Motherhood is a vocation for Ingram. For a long time now, she has expressed a desire to have a family. She took action after receiving a cancer diagnosis in 2005, and through her adoptions, she has taken on the role of a single mom and has said that her faith has helped her get through the worst times. She reflected on her Catholic faith as the most important thing in her life in a Mother's Day post. In her family, she uses faith to shape her children's character, morality, and purpose. Without that, I think things would be very tough for me. Values like thankfulness, perseverance, modesty, and service, all of which she absorbed from her upbringing in a faith-based household. She wants her children to grow up to be prosperous, but she also wants them to be purposeful people. She wants me to be the greatest mother I can be, she says. My goal is for my children to grow up to be self-reliant, confident, and content, well-equipped to experience life to the utmost. Gratitude, introspection, and a sense of responsibility rather than entitlement are some of the ways Ingram, despite her prominent work, keeps her religion practice at the center of her parenting. Laura Ingram's personal life has had its share of highs and lows, but remains a leading Fox News host and a conservative legend. Career as a conservative icon. The career path that Laura Ingram has created out for herself mixes media-savvy power with sharp conservative critique. Her meteoric rise has established her as a frontrunner in American broadcasting on the right side of the center. Starting out as a speechwriter for Reagan and a law clerk for a U.S. Supreme Court justice, she transitioned into the media industry with a flourish. The first significant chapter in her public voice began when she entered talk radio. By 2001, she had established a foundation for her Laura Ingram performance, where people all throughout the country heard her views. Her conservative perspective resounded with listeners as the show tackled social, political, and cultural issues. When Fox News Channel needed someone to write speeches for them, she was there in 2007, and by October 2017, she had taken over the Ingram Angle's primetime slot. Critique, conservative viewpoints, and perceptive interviewees are hallmarks of the show. She has not only been seen in the media, but she has also had an impact on the conservative movement in the United States. She discusses topics such as cultural shifts, free trade, immigration, and federal control. Differences in opinion. You have now met Laura Ingram's children. She is single, with a distinct perspective on life. She brings up her 3 children in a faith-filled, responsible, and loving environment. Is Ingram more likely to tie the knot or add to his family through adoption? Post a comment below to share your opinions.